another episode of the Rise of Women's Football podcast. Today we're with Verena Hanshaw, a West Ham player. How are we on this cold evening in London?
Hello, and I'm very good. I'm very excited for this episode, and I'm glad I can be here.
A lot of things to talk about with your personal life and your career. Football player, business person as well. But we'll get to that eventually. Let's go back to the very beginning. Football is what you do, is what you love. So talk us through kind of the beginning of your football aspirations and your football career.
Okay, so
where do we start?
Where do we start? But I have two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I have one twin brother, and when we were 5 years old, 6 years old, we always played in the garden football. And my older brother already played in a team. And one day my dad just said, why are you not going to a team and play with them? And I never thought about it at this time, but I liked that idea, and that's how I started playing in a team. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And obviously I played a long time with the boys until I was 15, I think. And yeah, at that time in Austria, it was really hard with women's football. So I had no other options than thinking of leaving home very early. So I did that when I was 16. I regret it a little bit because I didn't finish school. But at this time, I thought, now I need to go.
It's now or never.
It's now or never. And my parents, actually, they were both like, yeah, we do whatever we can to support you, and you can do this and everything. And yeah, that was me going to Germany with 16.
You obviously said your parents supported you a lot. How was that support at 16? You know, your parents supporting you to leave the house is a big deal. How was it when you arrived in Germany at 16 with that support and being okay with the decision that you made?
I mean, I was, on one side it was super exciting. On the other side it was super hard to leave home. Like my parents they drove me to every training, every game. And all of a sudden I was alone, but luckily I was with a friend at the same club. Mm-hmm. And we lived the first half year, because we were so young, we lived at a guest family's house. And that did not work out whatsoever. It was horrible. We were so different in everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and after 6 months we decided to leave the family. I mean, we're forever thankful and grateful that they took us. But then we went into an apartment, and that was way better. Obviously, I had a phone call with my parents every day, always asking, how is it?
Why did you kick me out?
Yeah, so it was tough, but I think it shaped me. It made me who I am. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and especially to have parents with that support. Also, if I think about, I remember my first contract. It's embarrassing. I need to lie, but I think it was €200.
A month?
A month.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, that's cool. You know, like I was 16, yes. I was like, okay. But if I think back now, it's crazy. And without the support from my parents, I couldn't have done this. It would have been because possible. It was impossible. Yeah.
€200. I mean, as a 16-year-old, it's a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot of money. But if you think about everything that comes with it, like the apartment, the food, you want to buy some new shoes because at this time you didn't get boots. Or
just once a month.
So, yeah, it was very, very hard at that time, but I enjoyed every second of it.
And how was it at 16 going into a professional setup that kind of set you forward to what is your career now? How was that process of adapting to kind of being, okay, like I'm playing for a team, and this could be a future for me right now, even at €200 a month?
Yeah, it was, I mean, for me, it was still, as an Austrian player, it was really big to go to Germany to play football there. So as I said, I enjoyed every single minute. At the same time, you know, in training, you felt like the pressure every day. So this got higher with every week. So yeah, you need to like really adapt to it, and you need to accept things where you didn't think about it before, or a lot of things that come with it. But it was exciting. And to see, I was, I think 1 year at the first club in Germany, at my first club. And after that, I went to another club, and it was so much different there already. We had a big sponsor, we had a lot of possibilities, we had great players, like really great players like Sophia Jakobsen, Vanessa Bernauer. So yeah, that was actually really fun playing with them, but we weren't successful
A slight
at
detail.
that time. Yeah. So yeah, we had all them good players. That was interesting for me to see, because I thought, wow, I'm playing with them, and that was such a big thing. But on the pitch, it just didn't work. And I thought, why? Well, how is it possible?
You question a lot of things.
Yeah. So that was interesting to see how, different it can be.
Yeah. And how do you feel about having that pressure at 16 of having to move countries to make it out? Obviously now it's changed a lot in a lot of countries, but at the same time there's a lot of countries where you still need to do that. What do you think of kind of the fact that needs to happen still for a lot of players?
Yeah, I think it's very, very hard and sad, because maybe you don't really want to do it, but you have no other chance, and you get pushed into that direction if you want to get a professional player. And obviously it got a lot better, because when I've compared the now with before, it's two different worlds.
200 euros a month is questionable now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really glad it changed a lot, and there are now organizations or like people who support you to do everything. But when I did this step, I had my parents' support, but that was it. I had no one else that helped me go through this, or also with the mental aspect in my years when I started playing professional, we didn't even know what mental health is. Yeah. And now it's such a big thing, and I think it's super, super important, because it's so much pressure, and I think it's even more pressure now because you're out there, it's everyone sees it now. So I think it's really important to make it even better and keep working on it, because it's still not good enough, I think. Yeah, but to see it grow into the right direction, that's really good. And I think we all need to keep an eye on the way how it's growing. I think that's also very important. But yeah, when I think back, I'm really proud of my way and how I was able at that time to do it, because it was not very easy. No.
Is there something like maybe the contract that you had, something that you look back now that you got really, really excited about and it really impressed you, but now you look back and you're like, maybe that wasn't as good as I imagined when I was younger?
Oh, that's a hard question. Nothing really pops into my head right now.
What was something that really impacted you in terms of, being in a professional setup in women's football? In Germany particularly, obviously, Wolfsburg have had a lot of success in the Champions League. German football was kind of on a pedestal with a lot of the players that were playing in the Bundesliga and with the national team as well. So you went into kind of probably the best eras of women's football in a country where it was really the kind of the pedestal of it. What was it like going into kind of that professional setup?
The first thing I have to say, with memories, I'm really bad. It's hard for me to remember what happened when I was 15. I don't know, I just think to see when I played against Wolfsburg and thinking like, oh my God, this is probably the best team right now, and we had no chance at all, nothing. And to see how good a team can be, I think that impressed me at that time. It still does when I look back. Yeah, them kind of things, because still at that time I was super young. I had like a little bit experience then at that time, but I think just everything was so impressive also to see the stadiums. this is a good point. Maybe the stadiums, because when I look back now at the stadiums, what we had
was nothing compared to now.
Was nothing to compared to now. It was at that time. I told everyone like, "Oh my God, we're playing that stadium, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait." And it was super cool at that time. But now when I look back and think about that again, I'm thinking, where did we play? Yeah. So maybe I would say this.
Now you would be like, this isn't where I want to play right now. What was the best memory that you got from playing in Germany? Obviously, you were there for quite a long time before you left for a couple teams. What was the general aspect playing in Germany that you kind of took away from your experiences there?
I think my time in Frankfurt was very special in many aspects, because we started as a middle table team and we had not a lot at that time. I went there 2018, I think. So it's not that long ago, but it's long ago. Yeah. And we also started with not a lot. Like our trainings pitch was horrendous. It was like, if I tell someone we trained there, they're gonna ask me, "Oh my God, why did you do this?"
Maybe not when you were 16, but
no, that's correct. And then to see how we grew as a team, because we all played together for many years, and we had such a great team. And then to see the changes within the club, with the fusion with Eintracht Frankfurt. That was a big thing. And I remember at that time, they always said, yeah, this year it will happen, finally. Like, they worked everything out. It didn't happen. And we were all like, how is it possible? Like, you're talking about it now since how many years. And then finally it happened, and all of a sudden we felt a change in everything, with the staff, with trainings, facilities, and everything. Just got better and better. And I think when I left, everything was at a really high standard. And I was part of it because I was such a long time there, and to feel the changes, the differences, it's a really big thing, and I think we all can be really proud of that. And to say I played there, that makes me really happy. Yeah,
you left it in a more kind of positive place in terms of how it was when you got there.
Yeah.
Which is quite, it's quite special.
Yeah.
And obviously from Frankfurt, which is, obviously Champions League, you went to a club, Roma, who's also kind of, that growth in women's football has been kind of parallel, I would probably say, to Eintracht in terms of visibility and European scale when it comes to Champions League, when it comes to the names of the players and the familiarity of just normalizing the clubs, I guess, outside of the Barcelonas, the Wolfsburgs, the Chelseas, the Arsenal. Roma, obviously change of culture, change of temperature in your day-to-day life. How was the change from Germany to Italy?
It was very tough. I had a friend, and she told me she also played there in Roma. And she knows me really well. And she said I could be a player she sees in Rome.
Okay.
With the lifestyle, with everything that's going on there. And I always said, I have the same feeling. I can really imagine it. And I had a good feeling about it. But then when it happened and I moved there...
Completely different.
Completely different. I mean, I think I was very unlucky there. Not only with the football, but also the private side of it. But if I look at the bureaucracy things, that's so different, because you feel like you're back in the early 2000s, you know, because everything takes so long. You need to fill everything out with paper and all them things. It's
the details that make life a lot more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously I don't speak the language, and I had help from the club, of course, but it's
hard.
Yeah, it was very hard. I loved the food. Food was amazing. Yeah, I loved the weather. That was also really nice. But I think I had a very unlucky 6 months there.
Yeah,
which made it all in all not good for me.
Not a good memory. Not as much as as 16-year-old on as the same illusion with the stadiums. Now you're at West Ham here in London. Not as great food, not as great weather, but the football. So far, you haven't been here for that long, but so far, how has it been?
It's good. I mean, it's very different again to Rome, but I love the team. The team is great. After 2 days I was here, I felt already I'm here since a year because they were all so nice and it all just fitted perfect. The football is, I mean, I'm having days where I'm like, oh my God, that's really good. Then I'm having days where I'm like, okay, come on, we need to do better. But we're getting there. I think the team is also in a big change now because they have a lot of new players and a lot is going on. But now I already feel a difference from the day when I came to now, the way we play, and it's just so much fun to play in this league. It was always a dream of me to play in this league, and I enjoy every game. I love playing football again because I struggled with that in Rome a bit. So that was for me important to just get the fun back.
What you started, what you love.
Exactly, really. to feel again the love for the game, and it's working out really well at the moment.
And you want, from I guess a similar kind of mindset at Eintracht, which is like you're not the best when you compare it to the history of Wolfsburg. You have Chelsea, you have Arsenal, but you're at a team with a big name, a big club that needs that progression, and perhaps you're not going to be signing $1 million player from the United States, for to say, but you have that closeness of a team. How important is that for you when it comes to kind of developing the football side of a team and for you individually?
For me, it's very important. I'm a person, when I feel comfortable in a team where I feel like I can be how I am, I don't need to pretend to be someone else. And if everyone in the team feels like that, I mean, there couldn't be anything better. I think that's really important. But obviously you also see other teams where they're probably not like, they're all like family and they're successful. But for me personally, I love being in a like big kind of family team, and that makes it special for me, and I feel better this way. Yeah, but I don't know if I take Rome again now as an example, because there it wasn't that big family feeling I had personally, and obviously I was very unhappy there, so it just showed me
what you appreciate.
Exactly, and my values and how I want to like play the game, or it just showed me that my time in Frankfurt, for example, was the right, like with the team and everything. That's how I love it. That's how I can show my talent also better on the pitch.
Is there a funny story that you can tell us about West Ham so far that you've experienced? I feel like there's a lot of like entertaining teammates that you have.
I mean, there is one teammate, she's absolutely hilarious. She's so funny. It's when I see her, I start laughing because I know she's going to say something silly now. Her name is Princess. But yeah, one funny story is hard. I think everyone there is quite funny, and you can make jokes, and it's like just super chilled, and you don't need to feel bad if you make a bad joke or something like that. So we're all just silly, funny,
And when you compare your time in Germany so far with your time in England, when it comes to on the pitch, how is it when you look at the league and the teams that you play against, and kind of the difference of styles of play? Obviously that has a lot to do with that, but obviously it's two very different leagues, football style wise, but also visibility and broadcast and attention. England are probably the most progressed league in Europe, so to say, when it comes to putting everything into one package of marketing, of TV, of names, of pundits. How has that changed? Kind of, what have you seen so far in terms of that?
I mean, as you said, I think England is the most progressive country in that. And to every game you drive, you feel that you're visible and people are interested, which you also felt in Germany, but I think on a different level, not as far as here. But I absolutely loved the game against Arsenal we played, because it was in the small stadium, not in the big one, but there were so many fans. And sometimes in Germany, even if there are like a lot of fans for Germany, sometimes it's quiet. You don't really hear them.
Yeah.
But when we played against
Here
Arsenal, they didn't stop, and they were screaming and shouting, and it was just a really cool feeling, and it was a cool game to watch also. I think that's just the difference, that here they're really into it and supporting whatever happens, and this I can already feel. Obviously I'm not long here now, but yeah, this is really a big difference.
Obviously, again, like England is probably the more far progressed leagues when it comes to obviously big names as well. When you look at Chelsea signings, Arsenal signings, even West Ham signings, did you feel pressure coming here, of coming to a league where there's a lot of visibility to do well, and especially being tied to a club like West Ham? The men have a really, really big following. There's a lot of commitment from the fans. Do you feel kind of a pressure playing for a team like West Ham in a league like the WSL?
Yes and no. Before I came, because I had a lot of talks with my bestie in Rome, she played in West Ham until summer, and I talked a lot with her, and she just spoke so positive about everything, and that just gave me a really good feeling. But on the other side, I did think, also because it was such a big dream of me to play here, and then of course I started thinking, okay, what happens if I fuck up or I can't show what I really can? And also they expected a lot of me when I signed. So you do have these thoughts, but on the other side, and that was way bigger than the negative thoughts, I just was so excited to play here, and I thought nothing can happen. What's the worst thing that can happen to me? I couldn't tell you, because there is nothing really, because you're still playing with the best teams, with the best players, against the best, everything, and that just made me so happy, and I stopped thinking about pressure, or because everyone is a human, and even if you have a bad start, whatever, it's just you're a human being, and it's okay. Totally okay. Not everything can be perfect, and I think that's really important to know that.
And for you personally, the last question I guess around football was, you came from Rome where it was hard mentally, to go from Eintracht that you really, really loved and you really progressed with, to a team that you kind of stumbled upon something that you either never felt, you haven't felt in a really long time, to now being okay again. How is the process to going back to being happy to football from where you were on the other extreme of enjoying?
I start putting, not forgetting, but I can start to let it go, everything that happened. Not quite at the beginning, because always when, I don't know, we had little problems with our apartment, and that's where I started the feeling came back from what I had the last 6 months. But then, I stood up the next day, and I was like, no, everything is good, everything will be okay. And after a few weeks, then I started to feel that I can let them bad things go, feelings go, and I'm not there yet 100%, but just to see. Like in the first week, I remember they posted photos of me in training, and I had like the biggest smile ever on my face. And everyone said, "Oh my God, it's so nice to see you happy." And I was like, "Oh my God, yeah, that's true." Like yourself, you don't notice it, but then if you if someone says something, you look at it again and you're like, oh my God, there's a big smile, and I am really happy. And I think soon, the last 6 months, it will be okay and I can get back to myself.
And
100%.
Obviously, outside of football, you have something that makes you happy as well. Voro, is it how you say it?
Close.
How do you go?
Voro. Yeah.
Voro. A very different accent that I said it with. It's your own business. Tell us a bit more about it to someone who doesn't really know what it is.
So it's a brand my husband and I started last year, and I think it was about probably 4 or 5 years ago where we started talking about it, because we had a conversation about what comes after football and everything like that, and then it was quickly clear that we have this dream to make an own brand, but at this time we didn't have enough money to do it. But yeah, we still kept like thinking about everything, and then last year we finally were able to do it, and
200 euros a month adds up eventually.
I saved a lot of money. No, and then yeah, it was, I mean, the name, it's quite a funny story with the name.
Okay.
Because we had a favorite name, but we couldn't take it because it was already taken. But then we watched a movie or series.
Okay.
And then there was this name, Voro. And we both looked at each other and were like, oh my God, that's a cool word.
Mm.
And then we looked it up, what it means. And really, we found it, and it was a really good meaning.
Okay.
I can't remember it because it's so long ago, but we wrote it down on the laptop. And then when it got more serious, we wanted to look for that one paper, and we can't find it anymore. It's gone.
Entirely.
So every time when someone asks me, where does the name come from? I'm like, I can't really tell you. Yeah.
But we like it.
Yeah. And basically the goal is to, obviously my husband and I, we have 2 very different personalities.
Okay.
And he comes from a, let's say, like, personalities are not that different, but he comes from a very different background.
Okay. He's probably going to come in and correct.
He's like, babe. So he comes from the music and art scene and very creative. And obviously I'm playing football my whole life.
Yeah.
I only know football. I don't know anything else. So we are trying to put them 2 personalities into the brand and make one big thing out of it. And with me, because I'm really into yoga, mindfulness, I also did my mental health coach. This is really important to me, so we try to put them 2 things together into the products. And we don't only want to be a fashion brand. Our goal is to have things from home to fashion. Maybe a big dream in the future would be even furniture. Yeah, so this is what it's about.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And how has that been, juggling that next to a football career that you've obviously, again, in the past year that you've had this brand, a lot of things have happened. How has that been, having side by side a business and a football career?
I mean, it was very tough. Very tough. In our situation, I was at training from the morning and came home in the afternoon. He worked from 9 to 5. So, and normally after training, you just want to sit on the couch and have a little relax. But that was not possible. I think there was a time, 1-2 months, where we were sitting until midnight every day to work on the brand. And it's really tough. First to find the time, but also to, of course, at the beginning you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
How should you? And so you need to figure everything out. But I think the best thing is you learn so much and you grow so much. And it was, in that year I learned so much that outside of football, where I thought I would never know this, and now I'm really into that. And it's just really exciting. And as long as it makes fun and we love doing it, we keep doing it. And of course, we hope it will be something bigger soon. But yeah, for now, it's just, still putting everything together
progress.
and exactly. But yeah, it's cool. I like it.
There's a lot of players doing kind of the same thing of having another brand, whether it be around themselves or like a fashion brand, or I don't know, Georgia Stanway with her tattoos, Ellie Roebuck with her coffee brand. There's a lot of players having those side projects, which is really interesting when you look at the concepts around being a professional football player and having something that has nothing to do with football a lot of the time. What makes Voro so special when you look at kind of the concept behind it?
I mean, I think first because we always have super limited pieces. We're not a fast fashion brand, or it's not like every month we bring new things. It's 2-3 times a year and then super limited. And I think, we want that everyone feels like they can buy something from us. This is our big goal, because we think it's for everyone and not just for special people, or
inclusive to everyone that wants to participate in wearing and having the brand.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is a really important thing for us, that we bring this message outside. And what was the question again?
What makes it special?
Yeah.
or what do you think makes it special to everyone else, and what do you want people to take away from your brand?
As I said, I think it's when they come to us, they should feel like, even if it's taking 5 minutes, take a break, we want also their messages to go out there, and that people know it's okay to take a break, or even if you need time for yourself, please take the time for yourself. That's the most important thing. And I think we're slowly getting there. We're not long there yet, but we hope that these messages will find the people. And
in 3 years, where do you see the brand, and where do you want the brand to be? How do you want to progress?
Still alive. Hopefully it will be still alive. No, we have a big end goal, a little sneak peek, but we want to have a physical studio.
Okay.
With some things in it.
I would think so.
But as I said, it should not only be only the products, there should be more behind it. This is the big dream. But honestly, I don't see it coming in the next 3 years, but I hope in 3 years we're at the point where we can start thinking, planning this bigger picture. And also, as I said, I just hope it's still alive, because there are so many brands out there.
It's hard to make it different.
It's hard to make it different. It's hard to also, money is a big thing. You never know what's going to happen. But we always say, even in the most stressful times, as long as we like doing it and we're having fun, we do it. Even if it's super stressful, even if you have annoying phone calls, if whatever things can happen,
it's worth it.
It's still worth it. And I hope it's coming
in 3
out
years
in a
it's
good
going
way.
to still be strong.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
it's fine. as long as you have the ambition for it, I think
exactly.
It can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Looking at the development, I mean, you kind of see it side by side of women's football development, getting to a point where players have the liberty, the money, the liberty, the confidence to do stuff outside of football. That has no obligation. Obviously, back then, it would probably be studying to have a master's degree, or to have the obligation to do something. There's a lot of players that still do part-time jobs because that's just what they grew up with. But now, a lot of players have the liberty to do their own creative work, to do their own hobbies, without feeling the pressure of having to do somewhere else, because now the women's game is at a stable place where you do have the liberty to create brands and do other hobbies that aren't football. How have you seen that change? Because it goes side by side of women's football progressing to this point to give you a liberty like that to kind of explore other things without having to sacrifice sort of say of a commitment to women's football, that you can do both at the same time. How has that how have you seen that kind of positive progression?
I mean, it's very interesting to see, because if you think, when I was young, I told you before, I didn't finish school, and at that time I was like, oh my God, I didn't finish school. What can I do after, like, when I'm finished playing football? And I was so stressed about it at a point, because you got taught you need to finish school, you need to go to university, or you need to start doing a job. But to see that now you can do whatever you want if you're good at what you're doing and you love doing it, you just need to brave enough to do it. And also with me now, if I take all the other ones that, you know, I mean, for me first also to find something next to football what you love. It's hard because you really never had anything else. That was always a typical question you got. Yeah, what do you like next to football? I'm like, I don't know. It was so hard to answer that question. And I think if you find what you like beside football, and you have a dream, then go for it. And whatever happens, if you like really ambitious and you see your goal like in a bigger picture, then try it. And even if you fail, it doesn't matter. You tried, and I think that's really important for everyone to not think, oh my God, no, I can't do this. You're like, why?
Nothing's stopping you.
You can do whatever you want, and this is a really important message, I think.
For a lot of footballers, even outside of that as well, just the ambition to do something different. I guess talking about women's football also is doing something different at the end of the day. It's still a growing sport. It's still growing league-wise, club-wise. There's a lot of good and bad things to it still, and a lot of improvement that needs to happen. You've come to, you've played for Germany, you've played in Italy, you've seen now England, seen 3 very different leagues. What's kind of one thing that you still see overall that needs to be improved in women's football, on and off the pitch?
There's still, in leagues, a big difference between the top clubs and the other half of the table. So it's good to see women's football is growing, and that bigger, or the men's club, are investing in the women's football. So I do think women's football is seen now as their own sport, and not only a part of the men's. So that is really good. But I still think teams with less money, or they're still having problems to keep up, to make that gap smaller. And obviously also there are still a lot of stereotypes we're fighting. I mean, the good thing about women's football, and I think that's, if you ask anyone, a high percentage would say women's football is, it's so good because they're so close with the fans. And I think we need to keep this value for as long as possible, because that's what women's football is, and that's how we survived over all them years. And I just hope that even if it gets more bigger and bigger, that those values will stay. And I think we all need to make sure they will, not only the players but the whole club. And because I think that's what make it really special.
It's definitely an interesting parallel, because before, kind of men's football was the ambition, but now men's football has gotten to a point where it's a very unrealistic place to be, probably more for worse than for better. So now women's football kind of has the liberty, I guess, to be released from that kind of goal, sort of say, and now to create its own, pathway to being commercialized, to having money, but also to keep those values that you mentioned of being close to the fans, of having that that raw, authentic kind of factor to it. But what's kind of the biggest challenge of, you know, progressing women's football on the commercial side, for example, or progressing it as a sport when you want to focus more on the football, and then but at the same time keeping that fan base and closeness? I mean, we've seen it. It's a lot less now, the access to players on the pitch. You know, after the pitch, it's a lot more reduced. So how do you see kind of the biggest challenge between money invested in women's football and the values of women's football together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to know what would be the best way. I think there needs to be a balance for sure, and it's hard. Yeah. It's really hard.
There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
In any of the sides. For you, like, have you noticed a difference so far in the last few years in the progression of your relationship with fans and your relationship with people around women's football?
I mean, I was always kind of lucky because in Germany we had good fans, you know, and you were never too close to them, and even if it was too close, you were able to say, okay, that's enough now. I'm seeing here in England a difference. I think they try to get really close, and I think that's just, you need that feeling to know, okay, when is it enough, you know? But you, on the other side, you still need it because you don't
want to break that relationship entirely.
Exactly, but the bigger the sport gets, I do think it will be less of it, but we just need to keep trying to still have a connection with them. And that, as we said, I think this is the hardest part, and really hard to say what could be a good solution for that or how it could work.
There's no right answer, I think, for anything. And another improvement, I guess, is for your national team back in Austria. Obviously, you had to leave at 16 to be able to play football. Not making it to the Euros was hard as well. How do you see, like, what is the biggest problem that Austria is having right now in terms of women's football, do you think?
I just think, I mean, us not being at the Euro, it's not only that we're just not there, but there's so much more behind it. And I sadly had people coming to me and, you know, they were laughing about it. And I was like, it's not funny. Yeah. If you, like, really think what's behind it, because
you have to wait 4 more years to be able to make it through.
It is, and also the hard work you put in the last 10, 15 years, you know, it just all fell apart, and you start thinking, is that all gone now, or everything you put in, the effort, and because we tried really hard, and I think we made a good progress. So being not at the Euro is really tough. Also for the younger generation, because your country is not there and they don't see you playing, and for us it's important that the youth, the young girls, that they, you know, they also see, oh my God, I want to do this, it's possible, and you know, these kind of things, and they see us now, okay, they didn't make it, I don't know if I want to do it now, or you don't know what they think when they're so young. I just think in Austria we need to redo all the structures, infrastructure, on bringing the young girls to play, give them a lot of opportunities, and I think it's the basic things where we need to start in Austria to work with, because even more so now because we're not at the Euros, and I just hope we find back to our way and to our success, because in 2017 our first ever Euro, and we made it to the half final, and that was just wow. It was like you in the movie, or you know, every evening we were sitting in the hotel and we're like, oh my God, what just happened, and we couldn't believe it, and this is what you want, and also for the next generations, that they can achieve something like that. Yeah,
and obviously now when you compare that, like, obviously you were at a big club in Germany, like, Roma's a big club universally, globally as well. Now you're at West Ham in a league that's really good. you're at West Ham, you have Manuela Zinsberger at Arsenal, Sadr Zil at Bayern Munich. You have these Austrian players that are playing at really big clubs. For you, what does that mean when you reflect back on national team wise? You're not getting as much success as you projected or as you want, but then you have players individually playing at big clubs that are still representing the country on a global scale of the best of women's football. For you, what's the kind of, when you reflect on that, what do you think?
I think that's super important. On the other side, you see, we all had to leave the country to make it. But it's super important for us to have players in like big clubs to get seen and to show that it's possible that we play in these clubs, and I think it's just like super important because when we come to the national team, they still know us because we are like in different parts of the world, and it's also different experiences you make, and you can bring that into the national team. And I think you can use that clever because you get so many different like thoughts and how you can progress, what we could try, or how can we do better, and but there's still a lot of work to do, but I hope we will get there.
Hopefully. And last question, I'm going to ask you for 3 things that you want to be done by the end of the season. 3 things that you could list, and at the end of the season, hopefully put a check next to each one. It can be personal, brand-wise, or football-wise as well. What are kind of 3 things that you have in your mind as goals?
To feel the 100% joy and happiness again with playing football. Then, because I'm doing the life coach certificate right now, and I want to do my 1 exam where I'm super close to. So this is a thing. And the 3rd thing, scoring a goal for West Ham. Okay.
You're gonna score now. You said it. We're manifesting it into the world.
Visualize it.
We'll cut this and clip it when you score a goal. Soon.
That's a good idea.
It was here. It was said here first. But thank you for coming on. Hopefully 3 years, Vodo's still alive, and you're working towards the studio. You scored a goal for West Ham, and you passed your exam. But thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you also. It was very cool.